Hi, this is Simon from SDL Photography here. I just wanted to explain today a little bit about white balance in photography using Lightroom. So we're here in Lightroom and I've got two photos up here, and you can just see in the library I've got a self-portrait I took a little while ago and just a straight 50% grey. So let's just jump straight in and have a look through this. So we do our white balance in the develop module over here. So we're just going to click the develop module, and that's going to open up this photo that we've got here. And you'll see that this is a raw file. So when we've got a raw file and we're dealing with white balance, which is in over here in our develop module, that it actually has these numbers here which are color temperature. So it moves the color temperature here. And it's got another slider here which is tint. Okay, so we'll be working in those a little bit later. So if we come over here, what we'll notice that if we have a look at the photo, while it's not too badly exposed, we look at the histogram, you can see that there's a lot of black in there and it's coming up here. But what we can see there overall, the skin looks a little too orangey. So it's got what a lot of people would call a Dorito look. So it's got a little too much orange in there. It's something the digital cameras seem to do, so we need to just adjust that, and that's something that we can do in white balance. So we can do this a number of ways in Lightroom, so I'll just show you how to do it. So we're just jumping over here to our white balance section. There's a WB, and you can choose the presets. Now I know I shot this with a flash, so I can actually click on one of the presets and say I shot it with a flash, click on that. It adjusts the color temperature down, and it's adjusted the tint slightly, so you get a much more natural looking skin tone in here. So that's looking pretty good. That's nice, quick and simple, as long as you've got you know what you've shot it in and how it is. It gets a lot more tricky when the photos you're taking have mixed different light sources around the place. So let's just reset that back so we can just have a look at another way of doing this. Now you can actually just use the straight sliders here. And you can go, well, I can move the slider myself, and if I know that I just want to do this, I just want to actually take a little bit of that orangey look out, so I want to move the slider down, and I can just adjust the tint slightly, and it gives me, you know, you can, if you move it too far you get a lot of change, but if you just move it slightly you'll get a nice looking photo that gives quite good skin color. So that's using the sliders, so you can move it around. You could make it warmer and you give it a lot more, you know, warmth, and that becomes much more orange. So we're just going to reset it back to where we were, just show you one other way. Now I've got some presets over here from ProLost, and I'll put a link to those presets in this post as well. And so I've got up here color temperature, that I can adjust color temperature. They've got some great presets here. That's color temperature for RAW and color temperature for working on JPEGs, because you need to adjust it slightly differently. It works slightly differently. So we're in a RAW file here. So we're just going to scroll down and open this up. Now you've got a little preview screen up here of what the file looks like. And it's a live preview, and this is the wonderful thing about these color temperature presets, is you can actually quickly scroll through and have a look what each one is as it's doing it up on that little preview screen. So we know that, you know, if you push it really right down to what the tungsten would be, it's way too blue, and we know if we're going to the shade kind of thing, it's too orange, very much too orange. So we bring it down to somewhere around here. So you can go, you know, 5,000, 4,500. So let's drop it down to here, and you can see the color and the skin has come back much more pleasant in the way it's looking. And you can go, maybe that's just a little too blue, or we just want to kind of drop that tint down, and so you can just do your little effects there and maybe just warm it up slightly, and you get nice looking skin. So that's one way, another way of doing it if you've got the presets over here. Okay, so let's just reset it, and we'll do it our fourth way. So we've noticed we can use the drop down, we can use the sliders here. If you've got presets, you can use presets, or you can use this dropper tool that you have for white balance. So I'm going to click on that, and what's going to come up is a little dialog box, and it's going to ask you to pick a neutral target. A neutral target can be anything from grey if you've got it, black, white, but something that doesn't have colour. So if you happen to click on something that does have colour, so if you picked the skin, it would make it look really kind of wrong and weird. So it's actually pulled it, really, really down and made it look really weird. So we just come back to that. What you need to do is pick something that's black, and I know the background's black, and I know that this is a blacky colour. So if we click on that, it'll adjust it, and you're going, oh, it's not too bad. It's brought it down to about 5,500. So it hasn't brought it quite as cool as we'd done before, and it's also brought a little bit more green in it. So you can see it's done a reasonably good job. So by clicking on that, what you're trying to do is get all of the three channels, the red, the green and the blue, to be even. And so that's why you're picking a neutral target. So something that has even amounts of red, green and blue in it. Grey, black, white, they all have that even amount of red, green and blue. And so that's what this color picker will allow us to do. So let's just reset that back again. And I'm just going to take us to our other photo so I can actually show you what happens when we are actually moving the color slider, the temperature slider around and the tint slider around. So let's just swap to the other photo, which is just straight neutral grey. So it's 50% grey. And that I just created that in Photoshop, and I've just brought that in here. And you can see if we're on here, you can see the red, the green and the blue. If we look over in our section over here, just it'll show you the color values as I hold it over there. They're 50, 50 and 50, so 50% grey. So what happens when we actually move the color temperature slider? So if we want to actually move it and make it warmer, we want to make, and this is the terminology, we want to make it warmer, so we move the slider up, and you'll see instead of, because this is effectively a JPEG that we're moving, it's giving it just as a plus to 100 and minus 100, but it's doing the same thing as when it's got the color temperature there as well. So as we move it up, it's pushing the red and the green sections higher. So you can see red is 74 and green is 69 and blue is staying around 50. So what it's doing is it's pushing those two colors higher. So it's actually making the overall photo, those things that are that color, slightly brighter as well, because there's more in there. So as we move these higher, you'll see that you push these out further. Now, if we reset that back to 50% and we actually know we want to make it cooler, so more towards the blue side, we push it towards the blue side. What you'll see is the blue channel pushes out, and so if we come over here, you see the blues at this point sitting at 89%. The greens come up a little bit at 59, and the reds come up a little bit at 57. But you can see that here it's pushed the blue. So when we move it to cool it, we're pushing the blue channel higher. When we move it to warmer, we're pushing the red and the green channel higher. So let's just set it back. So what happens when we do tint? So when we actually want to just change that color slightly because we haven't quite hit it properly, the tint will allow you to push it towards a little bit more magenta purpley. So as you can see, what it's going to do is push the blue and the red channel up. Or if we go towards the green, it's going to push the green channel, and then we're going to get a little bit of red coming into it as we push it further. So as we do things, so we might need to make it cooler, and we might need to actually pull a little bit of that magenta out so it makes that green come higher, so it moves those sliders around. So if we come back to the photo that we have, and knowing those things, we come back and we go, well, I've got too much orange in here, so I can't take that away, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to push the blue higher. So we're going to bring the temperature down, which is pushing the blue slider higher. So when we're almost down here, we can actually see we've pushed the blue higher in here, but what has created is there's probably a little bit of a color cast now, and so that we want to come into the tint, and we just want to bring that down a little bit so that the green is just coming up a little bit more, and so you get the natural skin tone. So I hope that you've understood white balance a little bit more, and that it's been helpful, and that we remember that we can adjust our white balance by using the drop down here, and we can choose what we've shot in. If it's not able to do it well, I mean, we might come here and we might say auto, and we'll try and adjust it. Now, it's not, it does a good job, but sometimes it doesn't do it the way you want it to do. It's made it a lot cooler than I would have liked. So you can actually bring it back up if you like to do that. You can use your slider yourself and adjust it manually. If you've got presets, you can use your color presets, and you can adjust it to where you want here. So you can make your presets there. Or as we come into all of this, you can use your picker tool, color picker, pick a neutral color, so something that's got even red, green and blue. And as you can see on the target, you can see that red in this point is at 5.1, green is 4.7 and blue is 4.7. So the red is higher than the other one. So what it's going to try and do is make them all even. So when we click on that, it's making it all even and moving this temperature slider down, pushing the blue up, and moving the tint down and pushing the green up, so we get them all to match with the red. So I hope this has been helpful, and thanks for watching.